Hello, everybody. Everyone who's here. Welcome to the
Hi.
first session of the Hands of Death. It's a new Fate core game with the lovely folks I have here. If people want, can we just go around and quickly introduce ourselves and say what we're all about? I'm just going to get us into a game here. Whoops. Oh, that's not set up. Okay. Well, shoot. I thought that would auto-load. All right. Hi, everyone. Just give me a sec. I'm still getting stuff set up. But while I'm doing that, players, if you could please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm CheersSteph. I normally am a painter here on Twitch, but today I am playing Florence. She's my character.
Wow, that's so lovely. And hello, everyone. I am Tony. I am me, and I'm playing Esther. They're my character.
Oh, you
Hi.
do have a...
What?
Sorry, never mind.
Hi, I'm WindyVenture, but you will be getting to know me very soon as Lilith. Can't even say her name. Nope.
Don't worry, we have like hours to practice this.
I'm like, what's my Lilith? Mortimer. I have a song. Oh, and I'm a streamer. I stream here.
Hell yeah.
Wait, do you have a song for your character?
Yeah, it was me stuttering over how to say Lilith, and it's Mortimer.
We'll bring that up.
No, don't do that.
Compel
not the
aspect.
vibe.
It's hard enough being a teenager. You have to sing an embarrassing song in front of the entire room of people.
Okay. Ay, ay, ay.
Now you. Yeah. Well. Don't know why this is being annoying.
Wow, that aspect that you have, Wendy, for Lilith, Florence is my guiding light. That's a hell of an aspect.
It's brilliant.
I didn't come up with that, but I didn't disagree with it
I love it.
because I'm lacking in guidance. Yeah, I need a role model.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
I was gonna say Nightbot is not my favorite.
Oh,
Not my favorite.
already got a warning. Yeah, I'm gonna. If anybody gets like filtered or anything like that, or if Nightbot gets in your case, I'm sorry. I'm new to Twitch, so I'm still figuring out all the intricacies of it. I will get stuff officially figured out soon. Once I have run a couple of streams and understand how everything works.
I guess I could open up mod view. I never can remember how to do that.
Okay, sorry everybody. There's a particular
There we
part
go.
of my stream that is not wanting to cooperate at the moment.
Oh, this will be such a fun opportunity for me to practice modding.
Ooh.
Not that I'll have
As in,
anything to mod.
well, as in like the style and counterculture?
No.
Oh.
No.
That'd be kind of fun, though. Maybe you could get like a suit, maybe drive around on a moped.
Like being mod?
Yeah.
Smash a guitar on stage.
Is that the same thing? That feels different, but I actually don't know.
Resist the monarchy. No, yeah, that's what they were. That was part of it, yeah.
Welcome in, Snazzy. Thank you for the sub earlier. Oh, I need to get sadder. I need to stop singing. I don't know what's wrong with me. I need to get in the... Should I go watch like sad animal videos? No.
Don't get too sad.
No. She's not sad. She's got just a lot on her plate, you know? She has a lot on her plate. She doesn't even own a plate, you know?
It's even
Doesn't even have a plate.
I suspect Ester might deign to occasionally let her use a plate.
Yeah, but what if I want a plate to call my own?
A plate to call home.
Cool.
Oh man. Oh, that was funny.
Okay. Well, for
Welcome
some
to
reason,
the Hands of Death. It's quippy.
for some reason, the chat function that will show our Foundry rules is not functioning at the moment. I don't know why. It's annoying.
Be a blessing in disguise.
But the players should still be able. Can somebody roll some dice for me quickly? Just throw some fate dice on the board. Yeah. So the players should still be able to see those dice rolls. So you'll at least know, and then through talking, you'll hear us. Hopefully that'll be okay. Okay. Out of studio mode, getting us actually into the.
Yeah. Y'all will just hear us make extremely hype noises, and you just do your best to understand the story from there.
So hype.
That's in the lexicon still, right?
Hype?
Yeah.
I hope so, because I use it a lot, and it would be embarrassing if it's not.
Oh no.
I was gonna say, I think if you aren't able to get that set up, and obviously this probably won't happen today, but by next stream, you could just put our avatars in replacement of our Discord names, and then I think they would pop up similarly.
Yeah,
I think that's a thing, right?
It's more the Foundry chat, so like the dice rolls and the additions to your rolls and all that stuff pops up as character sheets and all that.
I see.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Also, is anybody else hearing like a faint popping?
No.
And I'm not hearing any more music or sound effects.
That is by design at the moment.
Got it.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, welcome everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties there, but we're just learning how to do this. That's right. Okay. Let me just make sure we're all good. Okay.
While you're doing that, James, I think we should, as a stream, really embrace the kayfabe as a concept, and anytime technical issues pop up of any kind, we just sort of work it in.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. There's weird distortions in the ether right now.
There we go.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to get some music going here. Chat, you should be able to hear this as well. Let me know if it's too loud or too oppressive. Our audio that you're hearing right now, hopefully, is thanks to Tabletop Audio, a wonderful site. Go check them out. They allow people to use this audio for free in running their tabletop games. It's really cool. They have a Patreon. You can join it if you'd like. Go check them out. They also have a full suite of sound effects, which is neat, because that means I can do stuff like this. Which is effectively spooky and really good at creating atmosphere.
Can you turn the music audio down just a little bit?
Yeah, figured that was the case. All right.
Steph, how'd you change your name in Discord?
Oh, if you go to user settings, and then you go to profiles, and then you click server profiles, and you can change it there.
User set. How do I find that? Oh god.
It's in the cog at the bottom where it says your name.
Got it.
On the bottom left, yeah.
User setting.
That's such a good idea.
Hey, I got the chat working. Sweet.
Oh, yay. Wait, where do I find that? I'm so sorry.
At the bottom left of Discord, you'll see the cog. It says user settings.
Yep.
Then you go to, it'll say my account, which is right at the top, and you click edit user profile. It's the purple button, right?
Ah.
Stunning. And then it'll say server settings.
Scare the baby, thank you for that audio tip. I'm going to lower the volume considerably. Hopefully it'll just kind of sit nicely in the background.
Like an old friend.
Yeah, exactly like an old friend. Hey, what's up, Big Bear? Thanks for coming on back.
I have a question for my fellow players.
Yeah.
Have y'all been thinking about character voices, or are you gonna just use your regular voice? What are you thinking?
There will probably be a character voice that develops over 1 or 2 sessions.
Wonderful.
I'm having a small problem. My keyboard stopped working.
Great.
So, just one sec.
Mhm. The ether grows thick.
It's too viscous to accept inputs from our runic tablets.
It's so syrupy. I can barely move.
I can't. I'm stuck. Help.
I can't even type.
Alright. Well, while Wendy's getting that figured out, I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and I'll be right back.
Great.
Okay, bye.
So I'm just kind of working through this right now, Stevie. I can't believe it's not ether. Is that a thing? Is that anything?
For like an aspect?
I was thinking for like a grocery store product.
A grocery store. I mean, what do you think it tastes like?
Probably like the foundation of creation in life, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But like with a little bit of an odd aftertaste.
Of course. I'm into it. I'm into it. Yeah, and the packaging would just be like, is it there? Is it not there?
It's just an empty tub.
Bottled air for you. I thought ether was for doing old-timey surgery. Maybe. Maybe it's for everything.
Could be for everything. When I think of the term ether, I often think of everyone get your hearts ready. I think of the really pretty bad video game Xenosaga.
Oh my gosh. That's a great game.
I know, I also love it. Don't get me wrong.
What game are we talking about?
Xenosaga.
Sorry, what game?
Xenosaga. It's like it's this PS2 game, and like the main character, she's like, I'm the chief like cyber scientist. Also, midway through battle, she's like, ether, and then magic runes pop up on all sides of her, and it's like, sure.
Oh yeah.
This makes sense. I get it. Uh-huh.
That's one of those games I'm familiar with by osmosis, but like nothing else. I should play through it.
I think I need to buy a new keyboard.
Are you just is it completely busted?
I changed. Okay, this happened to me like a week or 2 ago, and I just plugged it back in, and it was fine. So I just moved it to a more accessible plug, and it stays connected, but then it disconnected. So you know what? I might just have to stand up and do that a few times because it only lasted a couple seconds there.
Thankfully, you shouldn't. Well, it can be annoying, but for the most part, you should be good with mouse stuff. But yeah, if it becomes a problem, we can.
You can just like, if I do like to take a lot of notes during playing though, so like I understand if you want to take notes, so just say like Tony, voice dictate. Like the Verdanthe
so
bad. Yeah.
If anything, I'm notating for you. Just kidding. Don't ask me to do that.
The fact that Tony is a note taker is already like a massive plus in my book, because any player that takes notes about the world and the sessions is a pro. That takes a lot of concentration, which I don't have when I'm a player. I can't do that.
Yeah, I really appreciate you really hyping me up here when I literally haven't been a player for like 3 years or something like that. So really appreciate it. Like, these expectations through the roof!
Tony, I can't wait to use your notes to remember everything about the game. It'll be perfect.
And then Ester jumped really high and was really good looking.
All right. Everybody ready? We're going to officially get started.
Ready.
Ready?
Yeah.
The Hands of Death. A collection of believers in an old god long since passed after she was killed by a marauding band of humans who pressed their way into her ashen realm and killed her with tools given to them by her parent lover in the celestial order of things, Verdant, the god of life, growth, and empowerment. Now, the Verdanthi, those heroes who went and slew death all those years ago, rule over different parts of the world of Charis. They become powerful masters of individual sections of the world. But the followers of death never forgot the slight that was given against them. They harbor this seed of revenge in their hearts, this righteous fury for the slaying of their lady. And they desire nothing more than retribution. Or at least the most dedicated of them do. Others might have less scrupulous means for joining the cause. But whatever the cause, these heroes, these Verdanthi, these 5 masters of life and apparently death, must meet retribution. We find our 3 members of the Hands of Death, an efficient assassination group, on their first mission to slay the first Verdanthi on their list, in a carriage, riding north towards the frozen Yitharan Mountains. It's cold here. Wind whips through the windows that are slightly open. We can see 4 figures huddled together in the light of this horse-drawn sled carriage, crossing a snow-covered peak. If we could go around and describe ourselves, and then I'll describe the 4th person who's with you in the carriage. Let's go ahead and start with you, Florence, if you'd be so kind.
Is the music supposed to be playing for us?
It is, yes.
Okay. I think you may have closed the window in Discord.
Oh, I guess I did.
Sorry.
I want to hear music.
Me too. Yeah, I set the. I need the mood.
Yeah, let me. I don't know why that happened. Okay, it should be going now. Just gotta join the stream in Discord and you should be able to hear it.
Florence is a woman of middling age. She is in her mid-40s, and she's wearing a very long robe that is fur-lined on the inside. She's got her glasses strung around her neck, and she wears lots of green colors. Her hair is dark, it's short-cropped, and she is kind of massaging her hands because it's very cold, and she's got a bit of arthritis starting.
Moving around the carriage, focusing on the next soul. Esther, if you could please introduce yourself.
Ester sits, impatiently tapping their fingers in a overly large hat that covers a good portion of their head and face, and a thick cloak. They sit there specifically not looking at Florence.
Okay, and Lily, if you could please round us out.
Lily is visibly cold but distracted. She's looking out the window, very focused on watching all of the nature passing us by. She is wearing a lot of layers, with her cloak on, hood up, trying to stay warm.
Wonderful. Okay, so we have a slight problem. If I switch to any other... Oh! Why did it pause before?
I think you just need to keep the screen up and not minimized, but you should be able to click out of it in theory, as long as it's not minimized.
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
Is that, I believe so.
Yep, that's exactly what happens. Okay. The fourth figure riding in this carriage with you is a woman who you all know to be called Anna Zorin. She is another Hand of Death, one of the reconnaissance and assistance members of the organization. She wears black plate armor that she has on from the previous Ascension War that she fought in over the past 5 years. And she has a briefcase with her that she keeps shut tight. It's a little longer than a standard briefcase. So like a standard briefcase is like about maybe a foot in length. This one's maybe about 2.5. And she keeps that on her lap. There's also another wooden case by her side. She's young-ish, probably in her late 20s, has black hair that's done up in sort of a ponytail, and wears a helmet with gold plating going across it that has 2 goggles attached to it that drop down over her eyes. She looks up from her seat on the carriage and focuses on each of you once before glancing outside and then looking back towards all of you. She begins. So, we've almost reached the Bright Eyes Chalet. How are you feeling? The mission you're about to embark on will be significantly dangerous. I am ready to give you this briefing, if need be. Let you know the target you're going after, but it's important to check the mental state of combatants before heading into combat.
I'm doing fine. Get on with it.
She nods. You get the sense that Anna appreciates your directness, Florence, and then she glances at the other two.
With it, Anna's on.
Sorry.
Get on with it? All right. She scratches at her face and says, fine. We try. She says, the Verdanthi we're going over is known as Kathrine, the Celestial Guise. The thief of the party that journeyed into Death's realm and slew Our Lady. She's a tricky one. Growing up on the streets of Chandler, was a hard, rough life for Kathrine. She went oft overlooked by the merchants and poorhouses of the city. A children among a slew of people, she had to fight hard every day for bread and other necessities. She did her best to feed herself and keep herself warm and cloaked against the cruel winters that would blow through the city. Throughout her childhood, she learned tricks, modifications of the trade that allowed her to charm open locks, pick pockets, convince people to get the things that she needed. It wasn't long before she rose through the ranks of the thieves of the city to become a rather proficient cut purse in her own right. She grew and grew, forming a gang of her own within the city of Chandler, and eventually gained such a name for herself that when the time came for the Verdanthi to travel to Death's realm, they recruited her, hired her to use her lock charming skills on the gates that would separate them from death. She snuck past the celestial void into Death's realm itself and unlocked the gates, allowing the killers access to Our Lady. But that was 6 years ago. These days, she's taken from charming locks to charming hearts. Kathrine has moved on from her role as a thief and transitioned into a role as a bit of a spiritual leader. She and her followers, with the bright eyes, seek a god that she believes is separate from the verdant or death, something outside the realm of current academic understanding. It's known as the Disgratia. That's, she glances over at all of you, that's Desgratia.
Yes, thank you. We can spell.
She, sets her jaw hard and, stares you down, Esther, and then sighs, and then goes back to her explanation. The Bright Eyes believe that the true spice of life, when you're truly at one with the spiritual flow of the universe, only comes when you're pushed to your absolute limits, on the boundary between life and death. They take actions to put themselves in these states in the hopes that they'll receive some sort of psychic vision from the god that they serve. They cling to these messages desperately and will do anything to try to get them. Kathrine has established herself as an acolyte of this new budding religion. She's tried to convince her followers to come along with her. Now, if we were a foolish lot, we would have tried to attack her and her followers at their full strength at their compound in the southern reaches, far south of here. But once at the end of every year, near winter, Anna glances outside, looking at the snow and trees that go past. Her and a select group of followers journey to a chalet in the north of the Yatharan Mountains to perform what's known as the Rite of the Rift. The details of this rite are not known to the hands of death. We only know that it involves at least a 3-day trip up to the chalet, but could extend to longer. She glances around at all of you and takes a beat before continuing. Here, in the Yatharan Mountains, in this snowy chalet, she is exposed, at least as much as she possibly will be. The cult... Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but I believe that's what they are. The cult will have already moved their equipment into the chalet over the previous week. Our intelligence tells us that they've taken a number of carriages up the mountain, carting a variety of different crates, locked containers, and other barrels and boxes. We're not sure what these contain, but the amount that they're carrying suggests a large capacity of luggage. It could be food, it could be bedding, it could be anything. But it's significantly more than one would expect for the number of people on this venture. I wish you the best of luck in infiltrating the cult, finding Kathrine's relic, corrupting it, she glances over at Ester, and bringing her to retribution. Now, this, of course, will be difficult for two of you, as you're well known to the Verdanthi. So, the Hands of Death has taken special precautions. 2 weeks ago, members of the Bright Eyes, she pulls up the wooden case by her side and sets it on her lap, were killed in a freak carriage accident, specifically 3 of them. How unfortunate for them. They can be resurrected, of course, if Kathrine chooses to do so, but at the time we did use what we know, the secrets that Our Lady left us, to create these. She unlocks the oiled wooden case and lifts it up. You all find 3 porcelain masks sitting on a thick carpet of velvet inside the box. The masks have different runic symbols carved into them. which denotes the various magical powers that are inherent within them. Florence, you know what these are. I'm not sure if Lily and Ester would. It's possible. You can basically decide that for yourselves. These are some of the secret tools that the Hands of Death has at their disposal to accomplish their mission. It's one of the secrets that they kept. Death masks.
And so what? You expect me to hide my face?
Anna looks up at you and says, "For the good of the mission, yes."
Ugh.
Place them on, and you will take on the appearance of the 3 bright eyes that we killed. She gives a faint smile. That should keep you safe and protected amongst the bright eyes. At least, unless your ruse is discovered. Be careful. It's unlikely that the cult members will be aware that they were killed in a carriage accident. It hasn't been enough time for the news to get back to them yet, but if they know, they know. She glances down at the masks, waiting for you all to take them.
All right. Florence reaches over and picks one up and hands it to Lilith, who's sitting next to her, and then she puts on her own.
Okay.
Lily folds the mask over on all sides, eyeing it curiously. I think I've seen this before. It looks familiar, but I'm not sure.
Interesting. Why does it look familiar to you?
My memory is so fuzzy, and yet something about the porcelain feels like something that I've perhaps touched in the past, but not recently.
It feels faintly warm in your hands. Florence, as you put your mask on, you feel it affixed to your face, and Ester and Lily, you both watch as the mask sinks into Florence's face, descending past the skin, and in a moment reshapes her into the form of a slightly older woman, probably in her mid-30s, with a sort of built physique and a heavy cloak of traveling furs upon her. The clothes she is now dressed in are made for survival out in the wilderness. They're made to keep one safe against the rigors of the outdoors.
Ugh.
Well, how do I look?
Interesting. How's the arthritis?
I still feel the same.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, it only changes your outward appearance.
Bummer.
Fine. And I reach down and apply the remaining mask.
Okay. Now, Esther, there is a opportunity here for me to compel your trouble, or one of your aspects, a striking vanity. Because you have that, it makes sense that you wouldn't want to hide your face.
I'm into it. I reached down. Wait, do we need to do anything else? Because I'm into it.
No. If you're down for it, then that basically means that you won't hide your face. You'll have to deal. You refuse to do it. You'll have to deal with Anna, whatever that may be, and you might have to deal with some of the cult members recognizing you, because after all, you are a famous artist to some degree.
I grab the mask. I mull it over. And I throw it back to Anna. Keep your mask.
Go ahead and take a fate point. Anna glances down at the mask and then back up at you. I'm sorry?
It won't be a problem.
It definitely will, she says, glancing over at Florence and Lily. You're
you
putting the entire
with us?
mission at risk by not wearing it.
His jaw is on the floor, and she looks to Florence, hoping she can talk some sense into Ester.
Sweetling, it'll be fine.
Sweetling, it'll be fine. You're gonna risk all of us.
Lily rolls her eyes.
Honestly, you should all just be happy I'm even here.
I wish you weren't.
Anna sighs, and she says, "This? Are you serious about this?" She glances over at you, Esther.
Do not make me repeat myself, Anazorn.
I'm sorry. She pauses for a sec. It looks like you just smacked her across the face. She shakes her head and she says, "I'm sorry. Why are you here? Exactly. You're an artist, right? Why are you?" She glances outside the carriage, a little exasperated now. "Why are you here? You're not trained in this. I mean, you are, but
I'm not. You're correct. But I know what I want, and what I want is that token."
I see. As you threw the mask back at her, you notice that you threw it back and it landed in the box, caught a candywampus. And before she does anything else, Anna will reach inside the box and shift the mask specifically back into position and place it in place. You've noticed this traveling with Anna over the weeks that you've been in this carriage together. Every now and then, she'll see something that's misaligned or out of place, and she'll have to set it right. So a glass will be hanging off a table a little bit, or kind of lying cattywampus or something like that, or a deck of cards will be at an odd angle to a table, and she'll have to adjust it and put it back to where it belongs and make sure it's in perfect alignment. And she looks down at the mask now and puts a hand up to her forehead, and she says, "If you get your cohorts killed because of this prideful obsession, I will personally deal with you. Do you understand?"
Sounds lovely. Any other details that we need to know?
I have a question.
She turns to look at you, Lily.
Which mask should I wear?
"Whichever you prefer," she says, gesturing towards the masks. "It doesn't really matter."
Well, let's just say I hope there's a goddess underneath one of these, and then I can really put Ester in their place. Lily slowly places the mask on
And
top.
as you say that, I give you a little bit of a check mark hand motion, yeah, you're getting it.
Okay, you place the mask on. What does it look like when you put this mask on?
Everything kind of shades over so slightly, almost like a blur out. And then my eyes refocus, and I notice my vision feels almost clearer. Otherwise, I'm just as cold as I was before.
Okay. Your form re-warps itself to have the view of a younger woman, probably in her early 20s, with long, stringy blonde hair that kind of falls on either sides of her shoulders, as well as a number of thick outdoors clothes that hold tight around the body. You can't feel these, of course, but the outward appearance is someone who's dressed for the cold of winter.
What do we think? Am I outshining Ester?
I'm how many do I need to be?
The stringy hair I don't think it's doing me any favors.
Listen, sweetling, you'll get there one day. Maybe. You look great.
Will I look as great when I'm enslaved?
Oh, hush. It'll be fine. Now, what are the names of these two deceased?
Ah, yes. Anna pulls out a notebook and starts shuffling through it, quickly looking at her notes. Let me see. That first one would be, Boudica, she says. pointing a finger at Florence. And the second one...
I cannot emphasize enough, Anna Zorn, that the pronunciation is key.
Bodega?
No.
Bodisha?
Bo for short, she says, looking at her notes more closely. Bo for short.
All right.
Oh, good. We're introducing nicknames. And who's to say if the other two of us are intimately acquainted with this dead person? What a great plan.
Well, you're all members of the same group, so honestly, I think the most complicated thing will be you figuring out how you even belong up here, Ester, with the cult.
It'll be fine.
An idea?
And Beatrice, she says, pointing at Lily.
Oh.
Two B
Do I
names.
go by B?
Nope.
Bo and B.
Beatrice is actually always known by her full name, apparently, according to this. She
Hey,
closes-
Bo. Lily nudges Florence with her elbow.
Hi,
Kind of excited to be closer in age, finally.
Anna closes the notebook and stores it back by her side. Well, despite the friction, I do wish all of you the best of luck. I will be up here on the high mountain peak on Overwatch, keeping a close eye on all of you. Should you need to retreat if things turn exceptionally bad, you may make your way back to the carriage. Remember, if you lose your lives, we're down a few agents, and they could turn you against us.
Stirring speech.
And it sighs heavily, and it says, "Best of luck dealing with Kathrine, the Celestial Guise." The carriage comes to a halt at the top of a high mountain peak. And you can all see now, looking out the windows of the carriage, that there is a large wooden chalet built into the side of the mountain. It stands resolute against the Yatharan Mountains. Windows and wood, a towering structure built here by unknown forces. You can see down on the ground a number of people milling about outside. Two large carriages with skis fit for going through the snow rather than wheels, and a couple of horses stabled up outside as well. You are all on a high mountain peak overlooking this chalet, and Anna climbs out of the carriage and takes a breath in of the fresh mountain air, and then grabs her long briefcase that I described before and sets it down beside the carriage with her. The driver of the carriage, a man named Mock, sits up top and scratches his scraggly beard and glances down. Do you all climb out of the carriage as well?
Yes.
Okay. As you all climb out of the carriage, Mock glances down at all of you and looks over and says, "Yeah, best of luck. None of us have ever tried this before, so hope there's not too many surprises. Be careful out there." "Anna, you want some tea?" And Anna shakes her head and she's like, "I must stay focused." You all climb out of the carriage, and the chalet stands in front of you down the mountain pass, and it glances at all of you. "If I were you, I would take a few moments to go over a plan of attack. There are a number of ways you could find Kathrine's relic and eliminate her. Some more direct and more dangerous, some less direct, but safer. It's up to you all. I'd be happy to give you any information I can."
All right.
Far away is the chalet from where we are?
Looking out from the peak, you can see it's probably about 100 feet away. It'll be a bit of a hike down from the peak you're on through the trees, but you should be able to circle around a bit, so it looks like you just arrived, rather than, coming out of nowhere.
Before we go, Anna, can you tell us a little bit anything you know about the ritual?
She shakes her head and she says, "All I know is that it takes place on the second day of their sojourn up here. It can go on for as up to 5 days, I've heard, but sometimes it only lasts for 1. The specifics of it I'm not too sure on, but it does take place outside, amongst the snow and the cold. They always do it at the turn of the year, so..." She pauses and looks around. "Perhaps the snow-covered mountains have something to do with it? Remember, they're all about pushing themselves to their absolute physical and mental limits."
All right, that's handy. Okay, we should.
You mentioned other paths. Of course, we can go in through the front, which is probably for the best. But what else?
Well, I more meant paths of strategy of attack. You probably want to ingratiate yourself into the cult without using any subterfuge if you trust the masks, which you should, she says, giving you a pointed glare, Ester. But once you're in, there are a number of ways of attack. You could ingratiate yourself into the cult, become friendly with them, try to see if you can pull the information about Kathrine's relic out of them. You could sneak around, try to see if there's any information hidden among the cultists' rooms at the chalet. Maybe some hidden passages or something else. I suppose you could also try to involve yourselves in the rite. Maybe during the rite, Kathrine will be left in a particularly vulnerable state. She shrugs. I don't know. I wish we had more information to give you. I'm sorry, but the group is secretive by nature.
It's fine. Anything else? I look to my two companions.
Lily avoids eye contact.
Ugh.
I do that a lot.
Get over yourself.
Get over yourself. Put the mask on.
Lily, I don't think she's going to do it. They're going to do it. I think we should go around the front and try to make friends.
I'm hoping to find a ghost along the way, because I don't even know who this Beatrice person is. Rest in peace. Or not.
Well, I think this is the beginning of a fine plan, Alagard. I do love when you talk sensically, and Lily, I'm sure we can find a dead person for you somewhere.
Anna scratches her forehead and she says, "Before you head down, I would try to figure out what Esther's cover story is, if you insist on not using the mask. There needs to be a reason.
Cover story?
There needs to be a reason why this new person has shown up."
Anazorn, darling, my cover story is me. Why hide your face?
She stares at you. She's a little aghast. You can tell that, like, she really doesn't like the fact that somebody who's acting in your manner is on this mission. So she's just kind of staring at you. You feel like if you pushed a little more, you could break her facade of, like, resolute will if you really wanted to. I don't know why, but you know that.
If I just really want to drive that nail in, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Are there any objections? Why shouldn't I convert to this delightfully creepy cult? Seeking the edge of life and death? Sounds like a blast.
It sounds like this would change your entire life, but that's fine. Yeah, let's just go for it. And maybe you're friends with Beatrice and Beau here for some reason, although I don't know why they would be friends with you.
What if we're sisters? Lily gets excited.
What if we're sisters?
Beatrice and Beau.
Yes, let's bank on these two individuals who we don't know a lot about, and let's just assume they're sisters. It's gonna be great.
I hope so.
Great. Excellent.
Lily grabs Florence's arm and snuggles a little bit.
I'm not concerned about this at all. Florence picks up her little walking cane here and just starts heading towards the front.
Anna looks at Lily snuggling Florence and says, "You're gonna want to cut that out before you head down. Signs of affection, not very good amongst these folks."
And consider, would Beatrice have a walking cane? Or wait, am I mixing
Bo.
it up?
Well,
what?
I need one, so I'll make the story up if anyone asks.
Great. And I don't know. Maybe you two converted me or something. I'm sure we can figure that out.
There's a heavy sigh from Anna, and she sits down and folds her legs, and she says, "Well, you've made it this far, so there has to be something special about you."
Again, lovely speech. Appreciate the morale boost. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Hopefully you will. You all stride off, your feet crunching in the snow. Now, your disguises, at least for Beatrice and Beau's visages, are dressed for heavy weather. Your characters themselves are also prepared. So you're dressed in heavy snow boots, survival gear, that manner. Like heavy coats that keep you warm against the chill. For now. If you were to lose that, walking through in this brief jaunt, as you're smelling the clear late winter air, that out here in the mountains, without that gear, it would become very dangerous very quickly. Be a good idea to keep that at all costs. You'll make your way down the mountain, passing through hordes of pine trees, feeling the nettles rub against your jackets as you go, smelling the fresh scent of pine wafting through the mountains, and come crunching up a road that you can tell at one point was traveled frequently and now is no longer. Only traveled with the use it gets once at the end of every year by these folks. You approach the chalet to see a couple of members of the Bright Eyes standing around talking and muttering to each other. They're holding these tin mugs, which are filled with something hot, and they're drinking out of them, sipping silently. They glance at the three of you as you approach. The first gentleman is an older man who wears a white hat. He looks a little pudgy compared to the rest of the people here. The rest of the Bright Eyes that you can see around look somewhat athletic. They have toned physiques, you can notice. This guy is a little bit on the heavier side. He has a thick white mustache and beard and fine spectacles on his head, and a cap on his head that looks like a white nightcap, but still manages to be fashionable in one way or another. He's also wearing an extensive suit of finery, despite the rest of his companions wearing survival gear, which makes him stand out like a sore thumb. And you all get the impression he kind of enjoys this. He glances at the three of you coming down and says, Well. What have we here? Late arrivals, I see." He strides forward, tin mug in his hand, and holds a hand out gladly for you all to shake.
Florence confidently shakes his hand.
He responds by shaking yours, giving you a firm grip, and looking you squarely in the eye as he does so. Removes his hand and says, "Hope the road wasn't too difficult. Where's your carriage?" Glances around.
Carriage is back there. We got a little bit stuck, so we decided to let the driver take care of it and walk the rest of the way.
Ah, I see. Florence, could you go ahead and roll me a deceive, please?
Yeah.
It's an easy lie, so we'll say it's at difficulty 0, mediocre.
Okay. Did that work? Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Whoa.
Let's do the first one.
Okay.
It got delayed.
Nice. Okay, 2 pluses. So, in Fate, when you roll dice against an action, I can either do active opposition or passive opposition. Active opposition usually comes when somebody knows you're lying or suspects it, so he would roll will against that. But in this case, he's not expecting you to lie, and so I set a passive opposition of 0, which is super easy to hit for most characters, because the lie was so believable. In Fate, if you tie the opposition I set, so if you rolled 0 dice, you would succeed, but with a minor cost. If you succeed by 1 or 2 shifts, so 1 or 2 above the difficulty I set, then you just succeed. If you succeed with 3 or more shifts above the difficulty value I set, then you succeed with style. and you get a little something extra besides. So, Florence, you've rolled 3 here, which is 3 more than 0. So that is significantly above, that's succeeding with style, above the difficulty. So, in addition to convincing this guy, I'm going to give you an aspect that you can tag.
Oh.
So we'll just make that the new situation aspect here. Really handy thing about this Foundry module. We're going to have to figure out how to spell believable.
Believable.
Oh, man. It's okay. I'm also a thesaurus.
Oh, the music stopped, by the way.
Dang it. I can it shouldn't have.
You ended the stream. Not the Twitch stream, but the Discord stream.
I didn't. That's weird. It just shuts down on its own.
I think it might be just timing out every maybe 5 minutes. I don't know how long it lasted last time. Maybe 10.
Oh, that's annoying. Okay.
I'm telling you, blessing in disguise.
Wait, why?
Listen, we may not understand it now, but later we'll think back on this day.
Okay.
We'll think.
Will we?
We'll say thank death that
We're disconnected from reality. We don't know the vibes.
I'm so glad I was disconnected from reality back then.
All right, well, I'm going to get it playing for the viewers, but I'll try to we'll try to fix this next time, but I'll deal with that later. Okay, so I'm going to give you a free aspect here, Florence, called a trustworthy cover story. When you succeed with style and create an advantage like this, you get 1 free invoke on the aspect you create.
Nice.
So because you were so believable, this guy believes you. He turns around and shouts to all the rest of the Bright Eyes standing around and is like, "Friends, give a warm welcome to our late arrivals. They ran into some trouble on the road. The struggle blesses them even here." And the other members of the Bright Eyes look up, raise their tin cups. So you have a trustworthy cover story because this guy is backing you, whoever he may be. He glances over at the other two and looks at you, Beatrice, and says, and he points a finger at you. "Forgive me. Beatrice, was it? Yes? I'm sorry. I think I saw you at the last meeting. I didn't realize you made the cut, so to speak, for the chalet trip. I'm happy to see you here. Congrats."
Well, here I am. I put out my hand, confidently mimicking just as Bo had done.
He reaches forward and takes it gently and shakes it and says, "Glad you're with us. Glad you're with us. Always good to have more souls aboard." And then he glances over at you, Esther, and says, "As long as they're people we recognize." And he looks at the two of you, Beatrice and Bo, and says, "Who are you, my dear friend? Don't think I've seen your face at any of the meetings before, and I have a memory for faces."
I'm someone here to find out what all the fuss is about, and my friends here, new acquaintances, assure me that the fuss is quite worth it.
The man glances at the two of you, looking a little concerned, and he says, "Did your friends also inform you that this is one of our most sacred rites? Only trusted members of the cult can come and join it?"
Oh, absolutely. I will be background when necessary, but I will participate actively when it is time. Please think of me as someone who is in training.
He scratches his chin, tugging at his white beard, and glances at you, Beatrice and Bo. He says, "Care to explain? This seems against our tenets."
My new friend here, and Florence kind of grits her teeth a little bit. She's like, our new friend here is slightly high profile, so they haven't been to as many meetings in the past as usual, simply because they are more famous in nature.
I see. The man scratches his chin and says, "Really famous? I'm sorry, but you don't ring a bell," he says. "Perhaps if I knew your name?"
Only in the proper circles, of course. Ester Paleheart.
Just gave him your real name. Awesome. Okay. Could you roll a deceive for me, please, Ester? And then, Florence, you are assisting in this.
Okay.
So we'll learn about teamwork here, which is great.
All right, I'm gonna roll. Here I go.
Okay.
Okay. That's a 1, I believe.
It should be a. Oh yeah, but your total is 3 because you have a 2 in deceive.
Oh, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah. Teamwork. So, Okay. With Florence helping you, you can kick that up to a +4, which is how teamwork works. So that's a total of 4 for the roll. But then we'll add. But then now this guy, whoever he is, thinks you're lying. So he's gonna oppose with Will, and try to see if he can figure out what's going on.
Good fucking luck.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, his will is not that high, so. Yeah, no, that ain't gonna cut it. He glances at you and like tugs on his beard a couple of times, and he says, "Really?" And he like moves over to you. "So as a prominent figure, then, you must have a fair amount of resources on hand."
Influence is what I bring to the table.
Oh, that's still something. Perhaps you can introduce us to some of the finer folks in, where did you say you operated out of?
The city.
Yeah, so Chandler is the primary city. Tony, if you want to use that. You can also just come up with another place. Okay.
Oh, no. Chandler. And listen, perhaps I may be on trial here, but let's make sure I get a good experience as well, yes?
Could you roll provoke for me, please?
Absolutely. Provoke, which I'm very good at.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So that's 4.
Yeah, so I'm going to set the passive opposition here at, I should have told you this before you rolled, but I'm going to set the passive opposition here at 3. So you've succeeded just at that. So he gives you an odd look for a second, then nods. Says, Of course. Wouldn't want you to take a bad impression back to your circles in Chandler. That would be unacceptable, wouldn't it? Let me get you a hot mug of tea, he says, and he hurries off, crunching through the snow.
Can't believe that worked.
With that, the rest of the Bright Eyes give you a glance and look over towards the door to the chalet, where you can see a woman sitting near the door to the chalet. She has black hair, kind of tanner olive skin, a couple of scars over her face, and she is holding a block of wood and whittling it. You can see that she has very thick animal furs draped across her shoulders, and even a full-blown wolf pelt just wrapped tightly around her neck against the cold. But what you notice more than her is the thing at her side, which is a full-grown lion attached to a chain, linked to the chair that she's sitting in.
And sorry, did you say did the older man with the white hat, did he go off already, or is he still there in front of us?
He walked off through the snow to go get you a mug of tea. There's like a serving tray with like some hot teacups on the outside of the chalet where people are hanging out. So he went over to go grab one of those, and he'll come back in a bit.
I see. And sorry, by a bit, do you mean like right now, or in a little bit?
I'm giving you a beat, so like you folks could move on if you wanted to, or you could wait for him to get back.
I want to ask him a question.
Okay.
Essentially,
he grabs the mug of tea, comes back with it, and hands it over to you. He says, "Here," and he hands 2 mugs to you, Beatrice and Beau, Florence and Lilith.
Thank you.
2 questions for you, dear fellow. Your name?
Yes, yes, Lind. Pleasure to meet you. I'm a bit of a, I'm the group's, one of the group's fiduciary masters. He reaches out a hand to shake yours once more, reintroducing himself. I work
very
closely
good.
with Kathrine, making sure the books are balanced, all that. Tend to participate in the rituals only infrequently.
Very good. I suspect we may work together often. And who's that over there?
He glances over. Rayla. Yes, of course. You wouldn't know. Rayla, she's Kathrine's sort of right-hand lady, I suppose. A bodyguard of sorts. You know, with the Verdanthi being as noteworthy as they are. Some folks.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Well.
Should we get you settled inside, Esther?
It would be appreciated.
I can have one of the folks over here take you to your room if you'd like.
That would be lovely, Lind.
Okay. Lind, throws a hand up and waves, and you see one of the bright eyes come crunching over. It's a younger man with kind of blonde hair. He comes over, and you can notice that he has dark circles around his eyes. He looks very tired, and he stares at all of you, and stares at you most of all, Beatrice. Eyes you down, gives you all very dour looks. What is it, Lind? Yes. Marcus, my dear boy, if you could please take these folks inside and get them settled, I'd be most appreciative. He kind of gives him a silent glare. Says, do I seem like your errand boy, Lind? And Lind says, No, I have to stand here and manage the tea, so I'm sure Kathrine would appreciate it. Ester here is a very influential artist in the city of Chandler. We want them to have a good time. And Marcus gives him another glare and says, fine, follow me. He turns around and crunches back towards the chalet. Lind gives you all a hearty wave as you head off.
And I give a small wave, and then as soon as we're sort of out of sight of anyone looking directly at us, I sort of wiggle my eyebrows at Lily and Florence.
Lily reaches in her pocket and grabs some pine needles that had been that she had picked on the walk down, sneakily sprinkling them into Florence's tea. Although it's unfortunate, names. Ester is briskly walking ahead of the two of us, so I can't reach the mug. And I whisper over to Florence, just to keep your mind sharp. Some pine needles. We don't know what we're drinking.
That's very astute of you.
Lily blushes.
What do those actually do, Lily?
The pine needles can help as a stimulant, so it'll hopefully keep us alert. We can notice any details. If there happens to be anything in the tea that would potentially slow our judgment, that's going to counteract that effect. And antioxidants for Florence's. What do you have? Arthritis.
Mug. Yeah.
That's actually interesting that you seem to be curious at what the tea contains. Could you go ahead and give me a crafts roll? The difficulty will be set at 3, though, so this will be hard.
Yes.
So you have the aspect herbologist apprentice with amnesia, which is the reason why you get to make this roll at all.
Yes.
So let's see what you got.
And just to be clear, I am merrily drinking the tea.
Oh, yeah. I'm assuming you're all drinking it.
You said roll for crafts?
Yeah, roll crafts at difficulty 3.
Oh, sorry, I didn't do difficulty 3.
Oh, you don't have to. Okay.
Oh, I don't.
So
I flunked that.
Yeah, so that would be a failure, but you have a couple of choices here. So you have fate points, and if you care about passing this roll, you can spend a fate point to give yourself +2 to a roll if you or to re-roll all the dice. But to do that, you have to tag one of your aspects to make it make sense. So like because I have this aspect. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to review the math for that because I think when I rolled, it does say 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not actually a 2? Because you said it was difficulty 3.
It is. So the difficulty.
I get a -1.
Yeah, the difficulty is the number you're trying to hit, but you have a skill ring of 3, but you rolled a -1, so it's 2. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So if you spent a fate point to get +2,
options.
you would succeed, but you wouldn't succeed with style. Or you could re-roll and go for the succeed with style.
Lily looks to Florence. What should I do?
I think this would be good practice for you to use a fate point. So I think
Should I use a fate point this early? Okay, I'll use a fate point.
Yeah, because you can, with more audacity that you have during the game, you can regain more fate points, basically. Yep. So
okay, I'm going to use a fate point. Do I have to manually enter that on my sheet?
Yeah, so at the top of your sheet, you'll see a thing that says fate points. And yep, there you go. You already decreased it by 1. Perfect.
Okay. And what did I just do?
So now that will, you tell me, either you're re-rolling all your dice or you're adding +2 to this roll to get it to 4.
Add +2.
I'm absolutely adding +2.
Yeah, good call. Okay, now tell me which aspect are you tagging, and why does having that aspect let you add this +2? Like weave this into the weave this into the narrative.
Because I'm an herbologist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna invoke my herbology aspect.
Perfect.
Okay,
so you glance down at the tea, and you start, like, swirling your finger around in it as you added the pine needles to Florence's cup. And you're noticing that there's some residue at the bottom of the tea. Not unusual. Tea usually has that. But it takes you a moment, and you take a closer look, and you start to recognize the residue of some of the herbs that are actually present in the tea. There's already pine needles in this tea. In fact, there are some stronger plants and flowers as well. Various things from around the mountain that would cause a stimulating effect to a exacerbated degree. The tea itself makes one more resolute in the face of extreme stress and heightens senses of focus. It's not a potion. It won't have like crazy effects. We're not talking like cocaine levels of effects here, but it definitely will have an effect on the people who drink an entire mug of it.
Lily looks to Florence and speaks under her breath as the group walks through the hallway. I don't know how stealthy we're gonna be during this event. Everyone's on uppers. Watch out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Marcus, this is pretty good.
Marcus glances back over at you, Esther, looking at the teacup in your hands and says, "Yeah? You like it, huh?"
Yes, it's got a little something to it. I can't quite put my tongue on it. Say, fetch me another later, will you?
He gives you a half smile, which quickly flattens out into a scowl when you give him an order, and he says, "Get it yourself." And he turns back walking towards the chalet. Now, if you want to push it with Marcus and try to bully him into doing it, you can, but that could have consequences.
I have a question.
Sure.
Again, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
I don't know if I just succeeded with style.
You didn't. So succeed with style is 3 or more above the difficulty. So you would need a 6 to succeed with style.
So that was just a normal
success. Yeah.
So my action was appropriate.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, thank you.
I turn back to my companions, and mouth the word "killjoy."
Beatrice and Beau and Esther, you all make your way up to the front door of the chalet. Marcus's boots crunching in the snow ahead of you, and he turns his head to the left as you step on to the stairs that lead up to the balcony. that leads to the front door entrance. He climbs these creaky wooden stairs and reaches the top to the same level that woman I mentioned earlier was on, with the lion. Rella, her name, you learned from Lind. Rella is her name, you learned from Lind. Marcus scratches his face and glances at Rella as he comes up. He says, Rella, 2 late arrivals, plus a newcomer that Linda insists will be good for us. Rella glances over at the 3 of you coming up the stairs. Ah, Beatrice and Beau. Glad to see you're all right. And you are? She says, glancing at you, Ester.
Ester Paleheart. It's a pleasure to meet you. I give just a short bow.
She frowns and looks at the 3 of you, looks at Beatrice and Beau and says, how's Silas doing?
He is still injured and couldn't make it today.
I see. Yeah, what exactly happened to the 3 of you? Hadn't heard back from you in a couple of weeks. Thought you weren't going to make it.
Lily takes a sip of tea.
She's waiting for an answer. Anybody?
Now
Now remember,
okay,
if you're like, oh shoot, if you want to try to roll deceive here, you can do it. You just got to come up with something convincing. But you also have this trustworthy cover story aspect, which you can tag for free. So the free invoke means you don't have to spend a fate point to tag it. So you get a free +2 or a reroll if you tag that. But once you do, the aspect remains, but it's you'll have to spend a fate point to use it from then on.
I guess I will use the. I don't want to use a trustworthy cover story yet. Okay.
You can always roll first to see if you can make it on your own.
That's true. I might do that.
Can we team up together?
Yeah, you absolutely can. You can all try to do a convincing explanation together. So when you combine skills, figure out who has the highest skill level among you. So this would be deceive in this case, and then anybody else who has at least a +1 in this skill adds a +1 to the roll.
So sorry about that.
I have +2. What do you got?
I'm sitting on a 0.
Okay, then I will do the roll.
Esther, what do you have?
Also 2.
Oh, well, then you will get +1 for this at least. Florence.
Excellent. Should I roll now, or should I try to talk first?
Talk first.
Okay. We've been recovering for the last 2 weeks, and I mean, you see, I've got my little cane here. My leg is not quite there yet, but I just had to come for the ritual today. When do you think things are going to start?
Second day, like always.
I meant,
go ahead.
Are we having a dinner tonight? Are we doing any talks?
We'll do the traditional meet and greet. Kathrine's getting set up for it right now. She glances inside, and you can hear through the door to the chalet faint voices, the clinking of glasses, the clattering of plates. People are enjoying themselves inside. Smoke comes out of a chimney from the chalet's roof. So go ahead and roll deceive. Rella is distrustworthy here. She's probing you specifically because she doesn't think you're, who you say you are, or she's at least suspicious of the gap in reports. So I'm gonna roll her will to contest the deceive here.
Okay.
You got this. I believe in you.
Remember, you get +1 to this from Esther's help.
In addition to your 2.
Let's see what Rella rolls.
Oh my god.
Oofda! All right.
Ow.
So you got that free invoke if you want to get a reroll.
Well,
Yeah.
sorry, what was your number without the invoke? You got a +1 from the dice roll, and then...
So it's 4 without the invoke. So +2 wouldn't get you there.
Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, I want to use the free invoke.
Okay. So Lynn's earlier declaration will carry you through here a bit. So the free invoke is gone. The trustworthy cover story remains. But you have to spend fate points to tag it now. You can also tag multiple aspects for the same roll. You just can't tag the same aspect twice. So you could invoke the trustworthy cover story for free, and then spend a fate point to invoke one of your own aspects if you felt like you needed a little more juice.
I mean,
So you can do it in any combination, right? So you could use the trustworthy cover story invoke to get yourself a reroll, and then invoke a +2, or invoke another reroll, or invoke +2 twice for a +4. It all depends on how you want to use it.
okay. I'm gonna use the trustworthy cover story, and then I'm gonna use a fate point here, and tag an aspect. Yikes. I feel like none of these are good. Let me think. I've got. Okay, my high concept is absolutely not because I'm in disguise.
I mean, can't I tag something, or is that not how help works?
Unfortunately not. No, since
Okay.
Florence is the chief roller, it's the...
I see. Okay.
Before the roll was made. So helping works that way, where you give a +1. Before the roll was made, you can always use your skills. In most cases, you can use your skills to try to create an advantage, which means you're specifically rolling to try to generate an aspect that gets invokes on it.
Sure.
So that's you can like set people up for success.
Could I use I see the potential in people as I'm seeing the potential in Ester's cover story?
Interesting. Possibly. I feel like you need to specifically describe what you're saying to weave that in.
Okay. This feels so complicated.
Is it appropriate to suggest something?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
When someone else's turn?
Yeah. Help each other out. Always talk. It's totally fine. You guys are a team. Yeah.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
What if it was sensitive matters that we can't discuss until Kathrine's made aware? And you can somehow tie in Ester's, unannounced appearance, I suppose. Keep it vague and just buy us some time situation. And maybe get us closer to Kathrine.
That's great. I can be like, the reason I'm asking about what time thing starts is I'm hoping to get a moment with Kathrine to talk about, why I've brought this artist here. It's sensitive.
Rilla narrows her eyes, and you get the intense feeling like your prey being sized up for a kill.
Okay, so that would be my high concept as verdantology and using my ability my knowledge there.
Yeah, that's totally fine. That makes sense to me. So you could get a +4 if you wanted, or you could re-roll +2, 2 re-rolls, whatever you want to do. You just gotta beat an 8, or tie it for a minor concession, but a success.
Okay. Well, I feel like, oh gosh.
Like tying is more narratively interesting.
It is, but also
Remember,
I have a 3. Oh yeah.
Your deceive's at 4 right now.
Okay. Let's tie.
Okay. Cool. So you're using the free invoke and that. Okay, so spend a fate point.
I did. Okay.
You tie it. Rella looks at you, eyes you, looks between all three of you and says, "Interesting." She sits back, and you see the lion by her side gives a faint low growl, and it reaches a hand out and paws at her chair, and she reaches out and pets its head. Says, "It's all right, Theodore. Well, if it's that sensitive, I'll be interested to hear what it is. I'd be happy to take you to Kathrine, if you'd like." She stands up to follow me.
First, darling, could we have a rest? We just came here in a carriage.
She clenches her jaw and says, "I suppose you have been through a lot. All right." And she turns to Marcus and says, "Take them inside and get them set up with rooms." And Marcus nods. You notice he doesn't bat an eye taking an order from Rella, and he leads you inside. Sweet. Okay. Good job. You guys made it past the bouncer.
Incredible team.
You enter inside into the chalet and immediately hear the clattering of cups, the celebration, the noise of slight celebration, faint talking amongst the members of the Bright Eyes here. There are about 20 to 30 people seated around various chairs and tables inside the chalet itself. And you can see that a couple of them have pulled out decks of cards. A lot of them have these mugs of the tea that they're drinking. There's a roaring fireplace over to the back corner, and a wide window that stretches across the front of the chalet, which gives a beautiful view of the snowy mountain pass of the Yatharan Mountains. You enter inside. Marcus takes you through this room of people, and they're all like, a couple of faces turn around to get a look at the both of you. You do hear a few people call out and give you a wave, and you say, Beatrice, Bo, glad to see you all right. They like wave out to you as you walk through the crowd. And then there's a couple of people who give Esther glares, but you're with Marcus, so nobody stops you. Marcus makes his way through the crowd of people to a set of stairs leading down below, and makes his way down the stairs and waits for all of you to follow. As you proceed downward, you come out onto a lower level of the chalet, built into sort of a basement, where there are a kind of crisscross hallway. So like one hallway that runs straight down from where Marcus exits the stairs, and then another hallway that cuts across it. And there are a number of rooms in this lower portion of the chalet. And Marcus walks you back to one and unlocks the room and opens it. He says, 3 to a room. Hope you're right.
Is there a window?
There are no windows, no. It's completely blocked off from sunlight down here.
Marcus, yes, but where's my room?
This is your room.
Excuse me?
This is the best room we have, Esther. And he gives you a faint smile.
Fine. Away with you.
He sucks in air through his teeth in frustration. Looking into the room, you can all see that there's 3 beds here. And he leaves the door open, turns around, and walks off, happy to be done with you. There's 3 beds here, a chest for your belongings, as well as a dresser, which seems to be empty as it's like hanging open. It doesn't have anything in it. Looks like this room was waiting for somebody to move into it. Congrats. You can hear the shuffling of feet and the dim chatter of voices from upstairs.
I'm just going to take a moment to sit and think about sound and how much sound goes in or out of this room.
Yeah. So it's stone walls, but the ceiling of the rooms, in fact, the ceiling of this whole area of the chalet is the floor of the room above you. With the current scraping of boots and the general commotion, you're pretty sure nobody's going to hear you talking. But if it were late at night and you were talking to each other without being careful about it, you might be able to be overheard by people in other rooms adjacent to yours.
Okay.
Good to know.
Well, Beatrice, Boudica, that went well.
No thanks to you.
No thanks to me, all thanks to me.
Maybe don't drink any more of that tea.
What? This stuff is great. Also, it's weirdly hot here.
I just need to find out any sort of information on us. How are we supposed to meet up with Kathrine?
It seems like a lot of people recognize our alternates here. Try not to talk too much to people who know us.
Right.
And listen, Lily, should the worst happen, just use me. That's the whole point of me being bold, open, and dare I say the courageous one here. Introduce me to people. Easy way to get names.
The more the more you speak, the more I am less impressed with you.
You know, it's funny. It's almost like attending one of your seminars.
Okay, okay.
Damn.
Let's get back to business. You both are exhausting to be around. We need to find out what that relic is. Maybe your history with all, working with relics, maybe you'll have a good eye for this sort of thing and actually be useful. Esther.
Hmm. You realize I'm the one who pays you, correct? Anyways. Yes. Yes, let's use my vast knowledge of relics. Well, it's not going to be somewhere obvious, that much we know. We also know it's going to be protected in some form or another. If I had to guess, Rayla would be our best bet as to the location of this relic.
Oh,
Whether
great. Lion lady. Sweet.
the most direct path, at least. Attempting to get the location of Kathrine herself would be foolhardy.
If you all want, so two things. If you all want, you're free to use your rolls to try to create advantages before you head back upstairs, right? So, like, you could prep yourself with knowledge of things you might know about the world by rolling certain rolls to try to create advantages. That might help you in discussions later on. You could also try to create advantages with each other, like reassurances with teamwork, although that usually requires rapport, which I don't think any of you have. But, use your imaginations. It's usually possible to create these advantages. You can also don't forget that none of you have any stunts yet, and you're free to define up to 3, or, well, more, but we'll get to that if you want to go past 3, within these adventures. And those let you do things like, in a specific situation, with this skill, I get +2, right? Or they give you, like, an extra sense that other characters don't have, or they let you do something specific with skills that you can't usually do. I know that knowledge of the system isn't, like, fully ingrained yet, so it might be kind of tough to come up with those, but it's totally fine to tell me, like, James, I want something that kind of does this, and then it'd be like, okay, cool, and then I'll work it out mechanically.
I listed empathy as my skill to, my, what is that? Telepathy.
Yeah, to talk to ghosts.
Is it appropriate to use empathy? Like, should I have that skill with solely spirits?
No.
Is that
You can
skill
use
I
that
can
for
have
anything.
with
Yeah.
everyone?
I do think as a cost for having that ability, you should take a stunt that represents the fact that you can talk to ghosts.
Okay.
I think that's a fair cost for it.
Yeah.
But you can totally just use empathy by itself.
Okay, perfect. So I will link my skill to empathy.
Gotcha.
And then is there anything I need to fill in on that sheet when I'm putting in my stunt?
Hit the plus button, come up with a name for the stunt, just something cool, and then write a description of what it means.
Okay. But I refresh as one and I don't have to check those boxes?
That's right, yep.
Okay, perfect.
Can we actually take a quick break right now?
Yeah, that's perfect. Let's take a short 5-minute break, and we'll come back.
Awesome, thanks.
Wonderful. See y'all in a minute. would. We will go back to the live stream.
Okay, we're back, everybody. Thanks for waiting for us. Okay.
And hey, I just want to say, Windy, you're doing really great, and I'm proud of you. You're like killing it for your first RPG.
Super.
Yeah. Yeah, doing
I'll
great.
I'll take any notes, but I'll accept compliments too.
Your beauty and your grace.
That's right.
Hell.
Miss United States.
No.
Back- Oh yeah, go ahead.
I feel like during our time here in our little room, we should think about, or at least Florence is thinking, it's really weird that there's a lion up here, because I feel like giant cats get frostbite when it's like, or not frostbite, but they like get too cold to survive when it's 30 degrees out and it's snowing, so it must be like -10 out or something on this mountain.
That is curious.
Yes, tell me, Alagard, what do you know about big cats?
Well, in my studies as a professor at the university, and then she kind of like starts whispering more because she's like, I probably shouldn't say that out loud.
You could actually make a lore roll, Alagard, if you wanted to, Florence, if you wanted to try to figure out why this cat is here and the context of it. Okay.
Oh, we do.
This isn't hard, but it's not particularly. It's a little out of context, so I'm gonna say it's fair +2 difficulty. Okay. Yeah, piece of cake. Florence, you understand what's going on here. So Rella is a member of the Ascendant Army, which is underneath another Verdanthi by the name of Marith. Marith, the Beast Shaper, is another Verdanthi that, as soon as the Verdanthi got back from Death's Realm after killing her, and the world started to shift and change, he took the initiative and raised an army to conquer a number of surrounding city-states and bring them under his rule very quickly. It was like a 5-year lightning war called the Ascension War that only ended about like a year ago. It's very recent. And chief among the members of his troop there were a collection of beast tamers. They were a special unit who specialized in using gigantic animals in their fighting combat prowess. They used them to attack their enemies in savage ways. You would bet a lot of money that Rella is one of these, and you would also bet for some reason she seems to have either defected from Marith's retinue, like defected from that Verdanthi and shifted over to Kathrine, or maybe she's here on loan, or there's some other like agreement going on there. The cat, for its part, because of the bond that Beastmasters share with their tamed animal, Marith's ability, Marith's like association with the Verdant allows him to provide this ability to his followers, where the cat and her, whatever the cat's name is, can share some of their physicality and their like their resolve. So the cat's not cold because Rella's not cold, and Rella's feeling good because the cat's feeling good.
Gotcha. Okay.
To be clear, you mean Theodore is feeling good.
Oh, I did say
Theodore the
yes,
cat.
Theodore is feeling good, yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cool. I like that. All right.
Wow, Codex, that's kind of cool. That thing that you made up with your mind, I like it.
I do. It's fun.
Sick, yeah. I like making up things with my mind.
We're secretly in Narnia.
Woo! Yeah. Nope. All right.
And Alagard, if you could rack that brain of yours just one more time. I would appreciate your understanding. Ugh, it hurts me just to say that. Of why they would seek out this particular god when quite frankly, I always thought their Verdanthi was just fine.
Yeah, the Verdant is just fine. Why do they care about Disgratia at all?
Oh, right, yes. And I guess why I'm asking specifically is like what makes this Disgratia special? And if you might know anything about that.
Is this an assist on the lore roll?
If anybody has lore and wants to assist you at +1, if they have +1 or more to lore, they can help you figure this out. But otherwise, you can roll it yourself. This is a little bit tougher than the last roll, but it's still difficulty 3, well within your abilities.
I have lore 1, I guess.
Yeah, so you could help.
Great. Let's go.
Yeah, a 5.
6.
Piece of cake. Oh, 6? Oh, 6, yes, because of the +1. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I'm just going to put the name of the god they believe in chat so people can have a reference to it. Okay. Oh, these amateur academics with their half-baked theories, Florence thinks. This isn't a god, at least from what you know. As far as you know, there have only been ever 2 celestial bodies established on the world of Charis, the Verdant and Liliune, or Death, as it's more commonly known. Disgratia is a portmanteau. It's a combination of 2 more ancient gods that were worshipped by the Yatharans back in the pre-era before civilization descended down from the mountains and spread out over the majority of Avalon or Avalandir. So what these Bright Eyes have done is they've taken an old god of the Yatharans known as Des and another old god known as Gratia. Des meant the way things ought to be, and Gratia meant the way things are. And they've combined these 2 words together into a horrific, unacademic abomination called the Desgratia, which they take to mean struggle. In a way, if you took the literal translation of the Yatharan language and converted it to this, it makes some sort of sense, but academically it's trash. You're pretty sure this god isn't real.
Excellent. Wow.
Lily's off in her own headspace currently, thinking back to the carriage ride and Kathrine's backstory. It reminds her so much of her own story, and she's beginning to sulk a little bit to herself, asking internally, that could have been me. This could be me. Am I even doing what I'm supposed to be doing? She starts to spiral. She's very distracted, feeling a little emo.
Lily, focus.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Kathrine, she's interesting, right?
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Oh, I wonder if there's... I wonder what kind of information I could find, maybe a little eavesdropping here or there. That always seems like a safe next step. What do you guys think?
I've told you before, it's best you drop this portion of your life. That nothing good will come of it.
Sorry, what portion? I'm confused as a listener.
I'm thinking of Lily's sort of search for answers back past.
Gotcha. Lily, what do you say in response? That kind of came out of nowhere a little bit.
I don't know. It's just, how are we supposed to find this relic when we don't even understand her? Maybe there is something I can uncover with a little socializing.
I suppose it's a fine enough plan, I guess.
If you keep your voice down, maybe we can go unnoticed and do a little mingle.
I don't actually think, I can't believe I'm saying this, that Ester should keep their voice down. I think you mingling and trying to find some information is a great idea, and I think we should be a distraction. We being Ester and I.
Wait, sorry, just to be clear, Alagard, you mean we spend more time together?
Stop talking. can't even look at you sometimes.
Fine. I think this is a great plan. Well, I'm hungry. What do you say we go upstairs? You, Beatrice, to introduce me to some randos or whatever, and yeah, I guess Bo, you can do your whole thing.
Your pupils are a little big. I will just warn you.
James, how do you feel about us splitting the party? Is that
It's
something
totally
you
fine.
like? Or
Fate
Okay.
handles that really well, and I'm fine jumping back and forth between scenes.
okay, cool.
Well, it's rather kind of you to notice these beautiful stones in my face. All right, let's be off.
Okay, cool. You all head back upstairs then, passing through the hallways of the other rooms where you assume other guests would be staying. And
Oh,
climb...
wait, actually, I'm sorry, James.
No, go ahead.
Can we get some form of... correct me if I'm wrong, this is how it works. Can we get an aspect out of how Florence rolled regarding knowledge of dysgratia?
So the difficulty I set with that was 3, and she rolled a 5. Or 6! That's right, because you helped. Sorry, yes,
Right.
You're right. That should be succeed with style. Okay. Man, I wish there was a way to add those +1s when you roll. It's weird they're not a wizard. There's not a wizard or something like that. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and add an aspect with a free invoke.
Yeah, maybe something like, I don't know, Well, anyways, I trust you, dear. Never mind. You're doing great. Bless you.
Here we go.
And is that something that Florence specifically can invoke, or can I also invoke it?
Anybody can technically it's Florence's to invoke, but technically she can also share it with anybody. So it's just up to Florence to say whether or not you can invoke it.
Okay.
Yeah. We all know this is bullshit. That's the
That's great.
that's the aspect.
By we, you mean the 3 of us only?
Yeah, yes, because
Correct. Okay.
yeah, because Florence has shared her knowledge with you.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Okay.
I'm gonna make that I'm gonna make that a little more defined, but it's the same gist. Okay, so yeah, just tell me what you're doing. By the way,
Going
if I'm ever describing something and you want to do stuff, feel free to cut me off. It's totally fine to just jump in and say, I'm doing this. Like, I will fade into the background as much as possible, unless the NPCs care. Yeah.
Sure. I just think this would be really fun. Florence, how do you feel about me just like chummily like taking your arm as we walk into the dining hall?
Stephanie loves this. Florence is outraged. Let's go.
Perfect. I do that.
Okay. So you stride up into the hall, arms linked. This immediately gets some looks from the Bright Eyes.
Including Lily in the back.
Yeah.
Who definitely got turned down with Florence's arm prior.
Oh,
so
man.
This stings on a personal level, but the sulking it kind of boils up a little more.
As we're walking in, I mutter, "Remember, kid, if you see something you want, take it. Now go. Do your thing."
I actually think I'm going to compel Lily here, because it's hard enough being a teenager, especially when you don't get what you want. Maybe this is a time for, I think this is a time for Lilith to act out a bit. Maybe lose herself slightly to this frustration. What do you think, Windy? You could always spend a fate point to resist the compel.
No, I think that's a very reasonable compel. I'm a little angsty in the moment. So Lily thighs deeply and decides to tackle the other side of a large room. I could use a little breathing space, and maybe I can overhear some conversation. What am I invoking? Investigate, I suppose? Or I guess I should wait until I have something specific that I want to investigate.
Yeah, but I think...
And I'm in the same room, but on the other side of the room from them?
Okay, I think if we want to make this a true compel, it has to make lives a little more difficult for the character. So I
yes.
think as you guys are like coming up the stairs, you would have like a slight outburst that the Bright Eyes could hear. Something that would like make it a little, a little weird. But yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I don't want to be so unhinged, but
Just said every teen ever.
Lily, in frustration, looks over her shoulder and sees Morty. She takes a large swig and I don't know, spills a little on the floor right in front of Ester's foot.
So you like grab a teacup from a table as you guys come up the stairs, and like Esther's linked hands with Florence.
No, hold on. Arms.
Arms. Sorry.
Oh God.
Not hands. Arms. Okay.
Not hands.
Arms. And Lily comes over and just grabs a teacup and just pours the tea right in front of Esther's foot. Like stands in front of them and pours the tea.
It's more sneakily, but if there's one thing I like to do, it would be to damage Ester's ego, and there's nothing like a small slip that would
Let's go a little rougher with it then, and say that like
rougher. Okay.
Can we say that like you faux trip and like spill tea over Esther's jacket?
I trip. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Sure.
Okay.
It seems. I mean, I'd like to think my character's more poised, but you know what? A little teenage impulse is bound to happen.
Oh, I'm not saying that you trip. I'm saying that you pretend to, so you can have the pretense of spilling it on them.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Oh, okay.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I say let's go. But I definitely aim for Ester.
Okay, so take a fate point. So Ester, Lily like stumbles in front of you and just goes, oops.
I gain a fate point, correct?
Yeah, you gain a fate point.
Okay.
You go oops, and like this whole splash of like hot pine needle infused tea just goes over the front part of your chest. It burns slightly as it hits you, but then cools down quickly enough. And the Bright Eyes who are like having their discussions as you come up the stairs like stop, and you hear the shuffle of a couple of chairs as they turn around to look at you all.
And my eyes are so wide open and just glaring at Lily. I'm saying nothing, just a grimace on my face. And then I mentioned the word wages. and I yank Alagard off to towards one end of the room.
Okay, you both split up on different ends of the room. The Bright Eyes follow you as you go by, and then eventually the tension alleviates and they resume their conversations and card playing. All right, tell me what you're doing.
Okay, I think Ester and I will be, getting a plate of food and sitting down next to the loudest, probably biggest group of people that we can find.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, you have 9 NPCs like all spec'd out, right? Like,
absolutely.
Cool.
I know the exact names of every person in this room. No.
I believe you. It's terrifying.
No, don't say no. Like kayfabe, baby.
Right, yeah, kayfabe, yeah. GM should be held to that standard for sure.
For sure, it's healthy.
So you all come over and you take a seat at a nearby table where there are a couple of loud, boisterous men and women who all have like bandages on different parts of their bodies. Like one guy has it along his head, another woman has it around her arm. Another person has it around their leg, and they're sitting there with plates of food surrounding them and like chuckling to each other. And as Florence and Ester approach, you hear one of them say, "Yeah," and then you snuffed into the snare trap and got yanked up into the trees, and we're all standing there being like, "Well, I guess that takes him out, but we could break a leg to be sure." And then they all like just laugh uproariously with each other. This is the conversation you step into as you both sit down with your food. Things get a little quieter at the table as the two of you sit down, but the Bright Eyes do like kind of glance up and all look at you.
Esther, I'm new. Tell me more about snare traps.
They all give each other like various looks, and then one of them says, "You're new?"
Yes. You can hear, right?
Their eyebrows grow up, and then they glance over at you, Bo, and they say, "You know this one, Bo?"
I do. They are indeed new, and their sense of humor is just a little bit lost on us. But it's fine. Carry on. We were just having some dinner here.
What brings you up here? One of them asks, looking at you, Esther. Curious about the Bright Eyes? Our rights interest you?
If any of us were here and interested in rights, well, none of us would be here. What we're actually interested in is the struggle, right?
They all glance at each other. It looks like you kind of did your homework. I suppose. Yeah.
Well, let's just say I'm looking for inspiration.
Inspiration. For what? A woman sitting at the table says.
Oh, my work, my life, the usual thing. I'm sure we're all here for similar reasons.
Ah, another man says, I understand. I get it. He glances at everybody at the table. They're just looking for what any of us are looking for. Answers. I'm sure you've heard Disgracia's voice too, right? You don't have any scars on you that I can see, but maybe you've been destitute or in a particularly difficult part of your life recently, eh? Heard the calling and came to see what it was all about, eh? And he gives you like a punch on the arm.
Yes, you got it.
They get a little more interested as you start saying this, and they lean in, and one of them says, so what happened? How were you pushed?
A few too many clandestine attempts to burgle people will eventually get you hurt.
Their eyes grow up, and they go up, and they look at each other, and they say, you're a thief?
Used to be.
I'd have you roll deceive here, Esther, but I don't think that's a lie. But if it is, we can...
I don't think it is a lie either.
Okay. They all kind of sit back and nod their heads like, that's a rough life, but there's no shame on it. The Acolyte held that position herself not too long ago. They all nod. She's like...
Tell me more.
Well, if you don't know about Kathrine, as of Verdanthe, she occupies a pretty high status nowadays, but she actually grew up as a thief on the streets of Chandler. Had a hard life up to that point. Yeah, they all nod at each other. Real rough. Understands us better than anybody. She's familiar with suffering, with the struggle. She was born into it.
Mm-hmm. And is that why you all follow her?
Well, we don't, the woman speaks up, we don't exactly follow her. That's a common misunderstanding, I think. We don't follow her, but she's a sort of voice for Disgracia. She can speak to us through it. Or it speaks to us through her.
I guess I'd best keep my ears open.
And then the man says, "You won't hear anything unless you really push yourself. It takes penance and hard work to get to a point where you can hear the voice of God."
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, of course. I don't expect it to happen tomorrow.
They all chuckle and look at each other, and then the woman subtly says under her breath, "Well, it might."
Oh. Say, how often do you all get to speaking with Rayla or Kathrine and all that. They seem like such interesting people.
They're a little bit less comfortable with this question, specifically when Rayla is mentioned, and they all kind of like shut down a bit. I think you need to give me a rapport roll here at difficulty 1 to get them to open up again.
I understand.
Because it sounds like the tactic you're taking is like a friendly, conjovial nature. You could shift your tactic to roll a different skill, but rapport is what makes sense for this, I think.
No, I think it's what I said. Okay.
Yeah, success. So they like look to each other and they say, I mean, honestly, most of us try not to talk to the acolyte unless she, speaks to us first. Same thing with Rella, the woman says. She's terrifying. She's won the right the last 2 years running. I think we can get her this time, though, as long as we can deal with that damn lion. They like look at each other and nod.
Yeah, so what's your strategy this year?
They immediately all stop talking and give you hard looks. And the man like leans over to you and like puts a hand on your shoulder and says, That's not a good question to ask.
Oh, my apologies. Listen. If ever I say anything circumspect, please tell me. I want to improve.
The woman's chair creaks as she leans forward and looks at you, Bo, and says, Bo, you should educate them in our ways.
You're right. I'm just been kind of an exciting few weeks.
Yeah. Okay, let's shift over to you, Lily, unless Florence wanted to do anything specific. What are you doing? You're wandering about the floor.
I've made my way over to the card games taking place on the other side of the room. I'm still feeling irritable. Maybe it was the tea, but I'm feeling a little antsy. And I decide to scope out the card games going on and notice that there are people smoking. And I try and find a few people who may not be having like a teacup right in front of them, so I can hopefully get away with being a little stealthier. I also think back to my introduction with who's the Bill or something? Lynn.
I like that you went to Bill, though.
Bill.
That's like such a, like, his name in a non-fantasy world could have been Bill.
Yeah.
That was the vibe I got, for sure.
He
So
doesn't
Lynn/Bill mentioned how I was on the verge of not making it. And that gives me the appeal of it's my first ceremony. So I plan to use that to my advantage, and I'm hoping to gain some information. So I near a table and I start peeking over the shoulders of a few people playing a card game, and they notice me. I say, "Hey, it's my. I'm not familiar with this game. Do you mind telling me what it's all about?"
Lind is actually here. He's involved in the card game, and he glances up at you as you come over, Beatrice, and he says, "Oh, Beatrice, we're playing Petals. Are you familiar?" No, you just said you weren't. Have a seat. We'll teach you. Despite this, Lily, you do know what this game is. It's a common game played on the streets of Chandla, and you definitely would have learned it at one point. It's a trick-taking game, similar to Hearts, but it's called Petals because the cards falling from people's hands look like petals falling from a flower. The Bright Eyes scoot over. One of them pulls up a chair so you can sit down, and Lynn starts collecting people's cards for the next hand and begins to deal you in. And he says, "It's rather simple. You just want to look at your hand, study what you have, and play a card that's higher than the one that was played previously." And he starts like going into game rules about it. While he's doing that, Lily, one of the other bright eyes at the table, leans over and says, "So, did you do it?"
I think I need more context. Can I invoke empathy?
So you invoke aspects.
Oh, right.
But
You're right.
you can always roll skills to try to create an
I can
advantage
roll-
for yourself.
I can roll a skill.
Yeah.
Okay. Without invoking an aspect?
Yeah, totally. In fact, you can roll skills to try to create aspects with free invokes. So you could roll empathy right now to try to create an aspect that like helps you in the deceive roll you're probably going to be making in the next couple of seconds.
Well, I want to get a read on that person who's clearly trying to get a read on me. So would that be empathy or would that be like investigate?
That's 100% empathy.
Okay, I'm going to roll empathy and see if I can get any more information before I answer.
Okay, it's difficult. He didn't give you a lot to work with. You're good.
I got nothing.
Yes, but your skill value is 4, so you got a total of 4.
Oh, I still have 4.
Yeah.
Oh, stunning.
Which is good, because the difficulty was 3, so you actually succeed. In the future, too, it's totally cool to wait for me to say the difficulty before you roll, so you can, like, plan out which aspects you want to use and stuff like that.
Got it.
So, he leans in, he says, "So did you do it?" And you get the intent that this guy is asking you about something that is private. Also, that it's not shameful to him or to the other people at the table, but it would be perceived as something kind of maybe messed up by common folk. So there's some sort of like ingrained shame in him he has from growing up in the culture of the world that causes him to ask this question in this underhanded tone. Beatrice must have been trying to accomplish something before they died and were turned into a death mask. And whatever that thing was, this guy is asking if you accomplished it. And whatever that thing was, it was something that probably shouldn't be spoken of in company that doesn't include the Bright Eyes.
Got it. Considering Beatrice is dead, I'm I'm debating if I should lie or if I should be truthful, not in the truth, but in saying like, no, I didn't accomplish it. Because clearly it wasn't accomplished, or was it accomplished resulting in the death? You know what? I'll just say I'm gonna create an air of confidence about me and give them a slight smile and a slow blink.
So you're just not going to actually answer, but you will somewhat answer.
I'm insinuating something, but I'm just trying to recollect myself back to a more poised and understated version of myself.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a deceive here. It would be at 0 because that's a very good lie. But you were acting out a little earlier, and that kind of put people off. Maybe it's not something Beatrice would normally do. So it's going to be at difficulty 1 for the deceive.
Okay.
Well, that's a failure.
Florence!
She's nowhere to be found. Far across the room, in fact. So you can invoke a fate point. You have a trustworthy cover story that you could invoke if you want to spend that. Or you can let the failure stand and see what that happens, see what that brings.
Oftentimes, failure is just as interesting as success.
Yeah, well, you're right.
But do what you want.
Yeah,
Yes.
I find it's often a game of like asking what you can fail on, right? It gives you power in the story to be like, how do I want this to go, right? So yeah.
Well, and if I'm only failing by 1 point, that wouldn't be, that's correct, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So it's a small failure, and that's a loss I can afford.
No, so I want to be clear here. Failures aren't denoted by how much you failed by. If you don't meet the difficulty, it's just failed. That's
Got
can
it.
be bad. Yep.
I mean, let's make it interesting. Yeah. I'm an angsty teen. I've got a lot of growing up to do. So I shift around nervously in my seat and look at my cards. I look up to Lind and pretend that small interaction hadn't taken place. And maybe we can just move on and get back to the game.
Your air of confidence evaporates from before, and the guy gives you an odd look and narrows his eyes. And he says, "Hold on, you should be here, right? You didn't sneak in. Because it's going to cause trouble for people if you're here." He's not letting it go.
At this point, I would definitely invoke that trustworthy cover story.
So
Lind's
you
right
could
there.
if you were making a roll, but for now, just try to role play out until we get to a point where the dice would hit the table.
Okay. Oh no, I'm definitely here for the same reason as you. I'm just excited to finally experience it for myself.
He stares at you for a little longer than you're comfortable with, and then gives a frown and says, "All right, as long as you're supposed to be here." And he focuses back on the game. That pressure removed, Lily. The game goes on. Lynn starts dealing out cards, and he, talks through it as he's going, and he says, "Oh, no. You don't want to play the 8 of diamonds there. That's a terrible move. I happen to have a trump, so..." And everybody kind of groans as he plays that down on the table.
Oh, Lynn.
And he glances up at you, Beatrice, and says, "Beatrice, this is your first ride at the Rift, right? How are you feeling? Excited? Nervous? It's okay to be nervous. I know I was the first time."
Yeah, it's a little overstimulating at times, but I just feel so lucky that I finally made it this far, and thank you for being so welcoming to me.
Of course. I wouldn't see it any other way. He pauses for a moment. How is Bo doing? I feel a little concerned. She glances over, looking at Esther. I know that Ester is a prominent figure and all that, but bringing somebody into our order in these circumstances, it's not really a smart move. Yes? She definitely should have cleared it with Kathrine first.
Under the impression that everything was cleared, but I will say Bo has been a little shaken since the injury, with everything going on, but I can assure you that Ester is, while a little attention seeking, I think they'll bring only good to the cause.
Lynn nods. I see. So, what, did you meet Ester after the carriage crash then, or?
Are we talking about the carriage ride in or a different? Oh,
This
the
is just what
crash.
Lynn's saying.
Okay.
Can we flash back to our cover story?
Yeah, you totally can. You guys can call up a flashback if you want, and shift the scene. I'm totally fine with that.
Okay.
What do y'all think about doing that?
I
I
think it's
could
great.
definitely use a refresher.
Okay. Right, so we're sitting in our little bedroom and we're like, okay, we need to come up with a perfect story for why we're here and why Esther's here.
Yes, good. I love that. After
Oh my
we're
God,
already
we have a
in,
story.
literally, it's...
When did we meet you, Esther?
I don't know, last week?
Last week in the city?
Whoa.
Sure.
Okay. Did you have any events going on last week
Mm,
for your
wait,
art?
are you asking me for real or like in a made up story sort of way?
For real.
Oh. No.
So I think somebody, for the flashback to happen, just so we don't abuse this mechanic, I do think somebody needs to spend a fate point. I don't care who.
I got it. I
okay.
got you. I spent it right
Okay,
now.
cool.
Did it.
It's also, so what you're all essentially doing now is spending a fate point to establish a story element, which is totally legal, and you can do this at any point, as long as it's reasonable. Esther, it's also totally cool for you to be like, yeah, I did have a show. Like, you don't have to, but do whatever you want. Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely did not have a show.
Okay, cool.
No, I didn't have a show. I don't know. Maybe something about caught in a burgle or whatever. Maybe I was trying to steal from one of you two or something, I guess.
And Florence, like, puts her hand down. She's like, you weren't actually burgling anyone.
No, of course not, dear.
Are you the one in my house?
No, don't worry. It's all made up. It's all made up. Anyways.
Her eye starts, like, twitching.
So, yeah, I don't know. I tried to steal from one of you. Maybe you almost killed me. Maybe I liked it.
Okay. All right, but we're recovering from injury. Has been the story so far.
Yes.
Are we wanting our cover story to include a carriage crash, or am I about to be completely...
No, the carriage
SOL?
crash happened right before we got here. That's why they were like, where's the driver? And I was like, oh, our wheel got stuck or whatever. So it would have happened like 10 minutes before we showed up at the door.
You also remember that Anna told you that the 3 people they made the death
They
mess
died
of
in a carriage
died
crash.
in a carriage crash.
Right.
So you're not too sure back in the present what Lynn's referring to here. He's probably referring to what Florence mentioned earlier. Probably.
Yeah.
That seems likely. What if it's not? Okay. So then, is that enough? Do you have enough?
You all tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to, I don't know, burgle you, Beatrice. You almost killed me. I liked it. I made a plea for my life or something. And then, I don't know, you were compassionate or something and showed me this whole new way of life, and my culty ambitions sprung up out of nowhere. And my influence and all of my incredible wealth that I have, which I for sure have. It could be of use to this organization. How about
Maybe
that? Does that
we're
sound
looking
fine?
for inspiration, because I know artists do that sometimes.
They don't, but sure.
One other thing you can do in a flashback is it's a really good time to roll a skill to try to create an advantage that somebody could invoke in future scenes if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. I've got let's see. What are you all good at again?
I have a 2 in stealth, but I guess I'm just trying to find an advantage on my current situation.
What are your 3s and 4s? I guess I could just look this up, but
Empathy, athletics, and craft.
So maybe you are the one who took down Esther's ability to, or their ability to, or their sorry, action to Bulger, and your athletics.
One that caught, yeah, I
there.
caught Esther
caught
in a burgle, and then you took pity and tried to show them the light. In a way.
Caught in a burgle.
Would that work?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Do you want to roll?
So that's a great
Oh
cover
yeah,
story.
I'm gonna roll.
But if you want
What am I
to
rolling?
if you want to create an advantage, you have to tie into how you're rolling that for one of your skills, and you can't. It's not enough to say like, okay, the story includes us being athletic, so we could roll athletics to create an advantage. That doesn't work. You'd have to roll something like deceive or something like that to like prep it, or maybe rapport with each other, or something along those lines.
I feel like feel like myself and Florence created a large part of this ruse, so maybe I should roll a deceive. Florence, do you have any deceive? Yeah, maybe you can help me deceive, and then we can kind of gift that aspect to Lily, essentially.
I know, I'm realizing how poorly planned my skills are because you guys have been deceiving all day.
No, listen, it's great.
It's great. You're balancing us.
Also, your skills will really help. Empathy is super
I'm
powerful.
a naive, athletic lady. I'm just a teenager, okay?
I have a +2 deceive.
I do as well.
Great. I'll give you the point.
Cool. I'm rolling.
Ooh.
Oh,
Gosh. Wow. That's incredible.
Ooh.
That's a negative 2.
-1. -2.
well, so I do have a question.
Or that is a -1. Yeah. But.
Yeah.
When Florence goes to assist, even if she has a 2, that's just a +1 that she's adding to my roll?
Yes. Yeah, you have to have at least +1 to assist. So in this case, the difficulty was 2. So you are failing it.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to take this opportunity for failure to create an aspect for the Bright Eyes. In fact, you know what? I'm going to... You guys have, like, tried to oh, gosh. Okay. You guys have tried to pre-plan this out, and maybe it was the way you talk through it. Maybe it's the fact that Ester mentioned earlier that they're a prominent figure in the city, but they're also doing crime. That's weird. But I don't think... I think this story is falling apart. Actually, let's be a little more specific. Cover is falling apart. And I'm going to give the Bright Eyes 1 free invoke with that, taking away the previous aspect of a compelling cover story.
We're doing so great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how did I get this job again?
You all are competent. It's just that, it's difficult. Okay.
I'm just under so much pressure. It's hard enough being a teenager.
All right. So we'll flash back to the present. Lily, you're in this... Oh, yeah. Flash forward. You're in this card game with Lind, and he's just asked you...
about the carriage.
Yeah, specifically, he was like, so did you meet Ester after the carriage crash, or...
It was quite recent, actually, and I think the injury shook Bo up quite a bit. She's been feeling, I don't know, wanting to be instrumental for the greater cause, and by bringing someone in as influential as Ester, she's quite convinced, and she's in turn, as my understanding is, of course, that Kathrine was convinced as well. So,
he nods his head. I see.
I don't know much, since I've really just been assisting in, dare I say, the brunt work is kind of where my role has led me thus far. But all of the politics, they are intriguing. Do you have any advice for someone like myself? How might I be able to assist, and use my intellect for the greater cause as well?
Lind is like hemming and hawing. So I'm gonna have you roll deceive again against him, because there's a bit of a unproven thing here where he's not quite sure how he feels about this story that you come up with. So you roll deceive. He's gonna roll empathy, and we'll see how that shakes out.
Oh God.
Remember, you can always tag or invoke aspects to help yourself. Ooh, pretty good. Let's see what Lind rolls. He has a 3 in empathy, which is what's used to defend against deceive. So he's sitting at a 4 right now.
And I rolled a 2, so that means that he succeeded.
It'd be a failure unless you want to invoke aspects.
Okay. I would invoke. Ooh. My last 2 aspects both seem intriguing to invoke. I'll take anyone's advice. Does what it takes, a fighter, a survivor. That might be a little dramatic. I guess Florence is also on the other side of the room.
I think does what it takes is.
Yeah, I do what it takes.
One, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can. I'm gonna take that as like a. Okay, how do I invoke an aspect again?
So you spend a fate point and either give yourself +2 to your roll or re-roll all your dice.
Oh man.
So if you gave yourself +2, you'd be tying Lind, which means you succeed with a minor concession. If you re-rolled, you might have a chance of beating him, but you have to beat a 4 with a 0, so kind of unlikely.
Yeah.
Question for you though, Codex. Like, if she goes ahead and uses a fate, can you retaliate by invoking an aspect? Can you retaliate by invoking your own aspect that you have there?
I could use my free invoke of Our Cover is Falling Apart. But
so
then, yeah.
Well.
But then, of course, you could invoke another aspect in response.
Wait, at what point? Oh, I guess that's not my aspect to invoke. What about the everything is bullshit? But that's not for me to use.
No, you could use it if Florence allowed you to use it. You just have to tell me how knowing it's bullshit fits into your cover story.
I don't know. I'm gonna just go with use a fate point and gain 2, and I want it to be a wash. I'm gonna barely scathe by.
Okay, what how does the aspect help you get this +2? Like, you do what it takes. So what does Lily do?
I'm going to.
So let me set it a bit more for you. So you're like explaining what happened with this carriage crash. Lynn's like leaning in, listening, and he's like nodding along. And you can see as you're going along with this, when you get to the part asking about politics, you've like started to lose him a bit. And he's like, you can see in his face with your empathy that he's still stuck on that one part of the conversation. He seems confused about the timeline of events, and he's not really sure what you're talking about fully, which is causing him to not believe you.
Right.
The other bright eyes at the table are playing through their hands of cards, but you notice now that they're all watching this exchange intently. And by the way, if people want to jump in and give you advice, that's totally fine too, if you're open to it.
Yeah. So like, I would think that does what it takes would be something more drastic, as in like you have to like, you're going to convince him, or you're going to distract him, or like you're going to do something. Like whether it could be like an action in the card game, whether it could be like you're going to like stand up and make a spectacle, or like something a little more drastic is how I would personally interpret that.
Is there any is there a theatrical I guess we're I want to publicly praise what we're doing. I'm just trying to figure out the way of doing that. Like
shift the discussion entirely and like reset the energy where you can be like praising the Disgratia for the members.
Right. I'm thinking like gratitude, passion, and like humbling myself so much that he's going to maybe play into my
This is a great direction.
Is there like a song can I sing a song? Not like is there like a chant, or like is there like a phrase or slogan that perhaps Florence had taught me prior to this, or is there information that I can invent?
I don't think they have any particular chants or slogans that you're aware of at the moment, but you get the sense from talking to them that they respect people who handle things stoically, and are very direct in their declarations. And there's also an air of like reverence among everybody here. So they have a lot of respect for the Disgratia and the idea of struggle. And then your eyes drift over and you see Beau's busted leg, a perfect example of struggle in this case. The fact that she was gifted that in a supposed carriage crash, that'd be an excellent thing to focus on to shift everybody's attention away.
All I know, okay, I slam my hand on the table.
Lynn jumps as you do this. Everybody else stays unfazed, but Lynn like jumps and almost drops his cards.
All I see everywhere I look is sacrifice. My colleague Beau, the comrades around her at their table, everyone's sacrificing. Kathrine persevering through so much strife, so much turmoil. Lily stands up, the passion flowing through her. The tea has gone to her head ever so slightly.
Everybody starts turning.
She decides to dial it back just a little.
Florence and Esther, you notice Lily's outburst as she stands up.
All I want is to give all of myself. All I want is to create a long-lasting difference. I want to be a part of a new and better future. That is what I want.
She's running for mayor again.
Florence stands up and she's like, here.
Yeah, everybody responds. Lynn's about to like cut in and say, well, that's not exactly what I was. And then everybody goes, here. And you tie perfectly with that for a minor success. And Lynn like sits back in his chair, slumps, and he's, ugh. But you don't.
I spent a fate point, correct?
You did, yeah. So you should be.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay. So the minor.
Woo!
So it's success with a
Lily
minor
was
concession. So everybody else like cheers and like raises their glasses up. You get a shout of agreement from the Bright Eyes in here. But as Lynn slumps back down in his chair, you know he's not fully convinced, and he like puts a hand up to his beard and strokes his chin. And at the next hand, he stands up from the table and creaks and says, "If you'll excuse me, I have some business to attend to." And he heads off out of the room. He heads off towards the front of the chalet near the door that leads in, and instead turns to the left and heads into another wooden door that leads into another half of the chalet, a place none of you have seen yet, and closes it behind him. Okay, so what's next, fellows?
Wow. Yep. Windy, excellent work.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see. Well, at this point, time's probably passing, right? And is there like something happening after the dinner? Like, is there an event of some sort?
There'll be something that occurs after you're all done with the scene here, but we can move on to the next thing if you want. But I wanted to give you all some more time in case you wanted to try to gather more information.
Hey, and I nudged the guy who was kind of friendly during the conversation, kind of ish. I was like, so what's after dinner? What's the schedule?
Kathrine should make her first declaration and appearance. Welcomes. Good luck, everybody. Things like that.
Good.
My mic stopped working for a minute. I don't know what is wrong with my computer. Hi, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, what was your name?
My name? Oh, it's Dan, he says.
Dan, as in Dan?
D-A-N, yep.
Great.
What, is that, what's wrong with that?
Like, you typed it in, that's so funny. You don't type in any other, like, important, hard to spell names, but you're like, but Dan.
I typed in the Disgratia before. I typed in Lynn. I've been doing it.
You're doing so good.
Hey, listen, Dan. Do you mind? Can I ask you some questions later? Later. Not now.
Sure, he says.
I'll come find you.
All right. Okay. If nobody else wants to do anything, we can proceed.
Well, let's proceed.
So, a little bit of time passes. People are eating and enjoying their dinner here as it gets closer to nighttime. The afternoon sun is dipping below the mountains and leaving kind of a golden glow in this room in the chalet as the smoke drifts around. You hear the noise of the general chatter of the place die down as the door that Lind entered earlier opens. And stepping out of it first is Rayla, with Theodore following close behind her. She pats its head, and then directly behind Rayla, you see a beautiful woman with long brown hair, dressed in a cloak that has stitched in symbols of the stars and the night sky. It's a beautiful piece of fabric, and as she moves, there must be some sort of special weave or dye in it that causes the colors to shift and reflect and refract off of the light coming in through the windows of the chalet. She has the cloak's hood up, but as she steps through the door, she pulls it down, and you all recognize her face immediately. Ester, you more so than anybody, because she was there the day your brother died. Kathrine, the Celestial Guise, enters the room.
Wait, sorry, the day my brother died? Do you mean Florence?
Oh, sorry, I said Florence. I said Ester, I meant to say Florence. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Florence, because she was there the day your brother died.
Okay, I was like, I'm not ready to have my, romantic, kill my, I don't know, whatever that arc is going to be. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah. Kathrine strides into the room, removes the hood off of her head, and puts two hands in front of her with steepled fingers with them pointing downward, and glances over the majority of her followers here. She slowly turns her head left and right in a very regal motion, and then gives a slight smile on her face. She says, "Friends, fellow strugglers, welcome one and all. I am blessed, as are you, to be here." As she continues to talk, she strides among the tables, walking between them, her feet creaking on the wooden floorboards. I feel so fortunate that all of you have made it here for our right. I can't wait to see which one of you will make it through and be given the blessing. And I hope the message that the struggle imparts on you teaches you something truly meaningful about yourselves. A glimpse at the inner turmoil within ourselves. Something that helps us become closer and more aligned with the struggle we face daily. She walks through the crowd of people and reaches the other end of the chalet, standing by the fireplace. She looks over the crowd once more and says, "The Disgracia is here with us, friends. It floats here in this very room. It hangs over our shoulders and watches as we play cards. It's in the water we drink. It's in the food we eat and the animals we killed to get it. It's in each and every one of you, and it gives you the capacity to fight and live on despite any misfortune that might come your way. I believe in each and every one of you. I believe in your vigor, in your tenacity, in your desire to survive. And I know tomorrow you'll all show me exactly how strong your resolve is. The Disgracia is here, friends." She raises her arms high, her cloak refracting the light as she does so. "It is here, and it welcomes you." And as she says that, the fireplace behind her roars to life with a furious green flame that erupts, illuminating the whole room in a pale green. The followers of the Bright Eyes shift back in their chairs visibly at the sudden roar of flame. The flame transports itself from the fireplace, ascending up and out of it, and curls over Kathrine's head like a swirling green halo. It hangs there for a moment and then descends on her like falling rain. In a matter of moments, she is engulfed in pure fire. It burns up the sides of the cloak and robes. You see a massive like light show that plays off of the room, the walls of the chalet. Her eyes grow wide and become these translucent milky orbs displayed against this backdrop of green flame and rainbow shifting colors. And she speaks in a voice that is much deeper and you're not sure is hers anymore. And she says, "Struggle! Struggle for your life." And then the fire dies away, retreats from her, dissipates into thin green smoke. The cloak falls back to her sides. She folds her hands in front of her again and stands there as calm and serene as she was when she first entered the room. There's a moment, and then one of the Bright Eyes stands up and claps, and the rest of them begin to stand up and join in the celebration. The applause increases in tempo and rises to a fever pitch until the entire room is cheering in support of their acolyte. Do you all join in?
Florence definitely joins in.
Of course.
I as well, yes.
Okay. You all stand up, cheer, clap your hands. Kathrine nods. She says, "The rite of the rift begins tomorrow, as soon as the moon is high in the sky. Prepare yourselves. See Rella to make sure that all of your weapons are removed before the rite begins. Remember, once it begins, no one is permitted to enter the chalet until it's over. I will be waiting for the winner to cross the threshold." Lind comes walking out of the door that Kathrine and Rella exited previously and walks up to stand beside her and whispers something in her ear, and Kathrine puts her ear down, and Rella then turns to her and nods, and Kathrine says, "And I hear from my associates that we have a guest in our midst. What an unexpected arrival." She gestures a hand over to you, Ester, and the whole room turns to look at you, creaking in their chairs. "I'm so happy you've decided to join us. I can't say I fully agree with the decisions that Bo has made in bringing you here, but I think I speak for all of us when I say we're happy to have you. Bo, Rella tells me that you have important information, something that must only be disclosed to me, that our friend knows about," she says, glancing over at Ester. "I will await the three of you in my chambers to discuss this. I'll see you in a moment." She smiles, says, "The rest of you, eat, enjoy, and prepare your minds and bodies for tomorrow." And she strides out of the room with confidence and heads back into the wooden door. Rella comes over, Theodore at her side, and makes a gesture at the three of you to follow her. What do you do?
But of course.
We get up and follow her.
Okay. You stand up, your chair is scraping on the wooden floor. Rella brings you across the wooden floor, all the Bright Eyes watching you as you leave, and then eventually they lose interest and turn back to their conversations and card games. You enter into the wooden door that Lind entered into earlier and see a long hallway that stretches down this half of the chalet and 3 doors in the side of it on the other side of the hallway. Rella opens the closest one to the door you just entered through and leads you into a sprawling office in the chalet, which has no windows but has a large wooden desk upon a nice plush red carpet with a fine, intricate pattern woven into it. Ester, the artistry is kitsch at best, but you could see how somebody who only appreciates money would think this is good. Kathrine sits behind the desk in a wooden wicker chair, her hands folded across the desk, and Rella, as the three of you enter in, sits back against the wall with Theodore, folds her arms, and leans up against the wall, and then looks down at Theodore and looks back up at you, and Kathrine smiles and looks at the three of you and says, "All right. What's so important? What do you need to tell me?" And I think that's where we'll call it for this week.
Hey.
Oh, thank God.
That was great.
Oh
Pretty
no.
cool.
We're gonna have to brainstorm.
Yeah, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of time to come up with a solution.
Oh my gosh.
Really, I think it's pretty obvious. I think
Oh.
it's. I know exactly what we're going
You
to do
would,
next.
Esther.
And
Good.
well, no, and I'm saying that all the rest of y'all are gonna have to find out later.
You're not gonna. Okay, all right, fair enough. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Chatters, thank you so much for joining us all for our first session of The Hands of Death, a game run using Fate Core. We love you. We thank you for being here. I hope you'll come back and see us at our next session. I'm not too sure when that will be yet, but we'll work out scheduling, and I'll be sure to post something on my Twitch channel during the schedule once I get that worked out. I also will be streaming some games myself in the coming weeks, so feel free to tune in for that. Hope you guys come on by. Going to be playing some Darkest Dungeon 2 and maybe getting involved in some older CRPGs. Get some roleplay going here. Can we just quickly go around? If any of the players have anything you want to shout out, please do so. Tell our viewers what's coming up for your communities. I'd love to know.
Oh, heck yeah. I am painting on Tuesday, making beautiful pictures that are way better than Esther's. And, yeah, it's gonna be a
Wow.
great time. You can find me and follow me on CheersSteph if you feel like it. Yeah.
The game is over, but Stephanie's still playing. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm WindyVenture, and we are accepting clip nominations until June 1st. If anyone here has not yet heard of the Clippy Awards, it's an annual super low stakes award ceremony. You nominate any clip from any streamer, and I put them into categories. We put on a big ol' show. I've got a few people helping me with the planning and everything. So it's a pretty big production. It'll be July 8th, but again, we are accepting nominations through June 1st, and you can find more details from my Twitch channel, or I'm WindyVenture all over on the socials. Oh, and I'm giving away a painting of Steph's on June 30th. I'm doing a charity event, and we're doing a little collab. June 30th. So
It's very fun.
so many exciting things going on.
Awesome.
It's awesome. Oh, and hey everyone, I'm Tony.
Hi, Tony.
What's up?
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
I say it again.
No. I gotta change my name. No.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. That was great. I appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time, chatters. Go ahead and hit that follow if you'd like. Love to see you back here again as we continue the story. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.